Hello everyone, today we are telling you the story about the Radical Road. How are you all? Hope you're all happy and healthy and well out there. It's good to see you all. It's a bit windy today. It's not too bad where we are right now, but you can see the trees are moving and my hood's getting blown up on my head and everything. So I will try to shelter you from the wind as we take a little look at the Radical Road. Very cool name. Very cool name. But just before we get started, if you haven't already, please remember to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment. Let me know if you knew anything about the Radical Road before we get started. It's interesting. It's interesting, which is why I thought you'd maybe like to know. So, let's have a look at the Radical Road. That's the start of a rhyme right there. Okay, so the Radical Road. It's not this road right here. Oh, it's windy. It's windy. I'm sheltering you though. Hopefully you can hear me. It's not this road. It's actually, you see this sort of line going up Salisbury Crags right there? That's the Radical Road. That pathway all the way up there, up Salisbury Crags. And you can see it's shut. You can see there's lots of fencing round it right there, and there's gates, or there's more fencing up the top there. It's been shut since 2018. Managed to find a little bit of shelter from the wind, so hopefully it's not as bad here. Yeah, it's closed off now. You can't go up it. It's been closed in 2018 because of a rock fall. I don't quite want to call it a landslide because it wasn't, but there was quite a heavy. Because you could look at the rockage. The rock edge, rock side, that bit there, that bit right there, right in the middle there. You can see how that would be, you know, fairly loose, maybe. But yeah, there was a big chunk fell. So it's been closed since 2018. I think they've been looking at ways of possibly reopening it again. They did talk about it just being permanently closed, and I don't think that was a popular opinion because hill walkers and things really enjoyed it. It's I think probably for hill walkers an intermediate climb because it goes all the way up, all the way there and round the corner, round the whole of Salisbury Crags. So it's, yeah, I think it's missed by hill walkers and things. It is missed, and it did used to give you the most incredible views. Obviously you could go up you can very easily go up the top of Salisbury Crag up there. You could get up there no problem if you wanted to take a bit of a longer route, but that path did used to give great views, looking out over the castle, looking out over Edinburgh, which you now can no longer go on. In fact, I can see even halfway up there, round about there, there's more fence in there, because you could very easily, well, maybe not easily, but it is possible to climb straight up onto it, but they don't want people to do that, obviously, for obvious reasons, because it kind of defeats the purpose. So I think they're looking at options of how they could possibly reopen it. There was talk about it this time last year, February 2022, but as you can see, nothing's happened yet. Anyway, let's talk about the history of the Radical Road. It got its name because it was named after the Radical War, which again is an incredible name, which was an uprising of discontent of the people of Scotland. This might sound very familiar. The people of Scotland were unhappy with high unemployment, high cost of living, unresponsive government, and there was not quite a revolution, but there was an uprising. There was mass national strikes across the central belt of Scotland for better conditions of lots of different things, and it caused a lot of problems for a while. It started sort of prior. It was starting to happen pre the French Revolution, and then kind of got postponed or avoided because of the long Napoleonic Wars, but then it came back, and there was large issues all over the central belt. Glasgow had a lot of things with the Radical War, and obviously Edinburgh did as well, and it was a big upheaval. It was a big thing about 200 odd years ago in the history of Scotland. It's not something we even really talk about now. I bet you I bet you most people probably don't even know the name of the path, let alone what it was named after. So yeah, it was a big thing at the time, and kind of got subdued. I don't know if it actually ever came to any sort of natural resolution. A lot of people got arrested. The army was brought in to calm people down. I think Glasgow, part of it, Glasgow got more representation in the House of Commons, so that Scotland would have more of a say. But not a lot. I don't think, again, I'm not a historian. I'm not a historian, I'm putting that out there right now. There are bound to be people out there who know way more than me. But it didn't get a lot of response, and it kind of just got subdued. Like I said, a lot of this might sound very familiar to a lot of people. But weavers was one of the big people. The Industrial Revolution was starting. So a lot of people were getting put out of work as well, because industry was taking off. So it wasn't so much people doing the work as, well, not quite, yeah, machines. Industry was, it was an industrial time. Manufacturing was speeding up. You know, the world was changing fast. And all of a sudden people were getting to work. And weavers were one of the big things that were really, really unhappy. So going back to a man who I've already mentioned, who really had a massive influence on Scotland, Sir Walter Scott. So Walter Scott suggested that a road be built up Salisbury Crags for people to walk up it in a far more safer manner, and we could give the job to the weavers to build this road. And that's exactly what happened. So with that in mind, the Radical War was roughly about 1820, and weavers from the west of Scotland were brought in essentially what was a job creation scheme. They created a job to create a livelihood, at least for a little while, for weavers, and hence the Radical Road was built all the way up around roughly about 200 years ago. Unfortunately, I don't know the dates of when it was started and when it was finished. But there we go. That is it's a shorter story today, but it's an interesting one, and I'll guarantee that, again, it's one of these stories that if you bring people here, they'll go, how do you know that? How do you possibly know that? But it's a good story. It's a good tale, and it's one that I think is forgotten in Edinburgh and forgotten in Scotland, and we don't talk about it, and it's part of our history. So we should remember these things. So there you have it. There you have it. The story of the Radical Road, which you're not allowed to go on right now. You never know. Maybe if someone's watching this in the future, that'll be open again. Or if it does get opened again, I will take you along it. But right now, I can't. Hope you've enjoyed that today. A little bit of history. We've not done history for a while. It's nice to do a little history story. If you'd enjoyed that, as always, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're just under 250 away from hitting 15,000 subscribers, which blows my mind. So if you could help us get to 15,000, that would be incredible. But keep yourself happy and healthy and well out there. Till next time. Bye, humans.